Hi, my name's Austin Peak,
And I'm Caden Sharon.
and we're here with.
Assistant coach Ty Crittenberger.
First off, can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about where you played and what you're doing now?
For sure, I'm Ty Crittenberger. I grew up in Lighthouse Point. I went to Cardinal Gibbons High School in Fort Lauderdale. Lived in Fort Lauderdale for 18 years of my life. I started my college baseball career at UCF, Central Florida. It didn't go very well. I ended up transferring to Polk State, which is in between Orlando and Tampa. After Polk State, I transferred to Western Kentucky, and then I did 3 years there and then finished at the University of Kentucky. After that, I was fortunate to play 2 years of pro ball in a few spots, and then unfortunately, but fortunately, I was released, and then I got the job here at Moorhead.
That's great. When did you realize you wanted to go from playing to coaching?
So I got released. Definitely a gut check, but I think right away I knew like I want to stay in the game of baseball. My major was sports psychology, and I think at first I thought about trying to do clinical trials, which would just be like one-on-one, us talking about, hey, I'm having performance anxieties, or hey, I'm struggling with this. And I just decided to go into coaching because the head coach at Kentucky, Nick Mingione, had kind of mentioned when I finished my year there that he thought I would be a good coach, and I respect the hell out of him. So I took it upon myself to reach back out to him, and he helped me through the process, and I haven't looked back since.
Most athletes, retired athletes, say they just miss playing the game and miss being around it. Does being a coach make you miss the game, like playing more or less, would you say?
Yeah, it's like a bittersweet answer. Every day I get a chance to still show up to the park, and that's amazing. But I'd be lying if I told you I didn't still think about playing. And I get a chance here to put a bat in my hand sometimes and mess around with the guys.
Was that touch?
That was a good one. But it makes it a lot easier to step away from the playing side of it because I get to kind of live through your guys' success. And
Fourth pitcher of the day for the Herd, a swing. And
I won't say it's the same gratitude, but it's very similar. It's very rewarding. So a little bit of both.
So, what would you say is the hardest mental adjustment from switching from going to a player, from now a coach, to leading the young men?
Yeah, I guess it would be patience. If something clicks for me, it doesn't mean that it might click for this guy or that guy. So you got to be patient. You got to be patient as far as what you're telling the guy. If I'm telling Caden that he needs to keep his top hand above the ball and it's just not clicking for him, don't call Caden an idiot. Kind of take it upon yourself to give different cues and be patient and stretch your ideas as a coach to ultimately get to where you want to for Caden. So it would be patience. Yeah.
Love that.
So, what's the biggest mindset difference between being a player and being a coach?
Mindset difference. I think as a coach, it kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said to Caden. You need to be a little bit more patient with the guys. You got to be flexible. As a player, you kind of know what works for you, but sometimes you need to understand the personality. And I was at a coaches convention, and a guy talked about understanding who you're teaching. That's really big. You need to know the personality in order to get the guy to where you want him to. So that's been big for me. That kind of shift in my mind that I need to understand the person in order to coach them in the right way to help me help them.
That's good. Now that you're coaching, what's something players do that make you think, man, I used to do the same thing?
I think I'm big on trying to improve the way that we handle failure, but I know at times I knew it felt good to get the anger out. As my career went on, I think I got better at channeling what actually had power, and that would be understanding why I had failure and then learning from it. But I can certainly understand why a 19-year-old freshman might want to pound his helmet, or even a 20-year-old might want to break his helmet. But certainly that's something I see our guys do that kind of makes me upset, but I know 20-year-old Ty definitely did that. He definitely did.
So, baseball is like well known as one of the hardest sports to play.
Yeah.
But what do you think is harder about coaching than playing?
It's usually on the days that we're not clicking, and it's those days that I feel like we should have more success than we are, where I feel like, man, it's just not coming to the surface. That would be the toughest thing. I mean, you have power as a coach or a leader, but at the end of the day, you can't. Like, I can't strap up for any of you guys. So that can be kind of tricky when I feel like the adjustment's right there or the game plan's right there in front of us and we're just not grasping it. That would be one of the most frustrating things. The other one would just be making silly mistakes, and those are inevitable. But those ones kind of grind your gears as a coach, like stuff that I know we're good at and I know we practice and I know we're capable of. When we mess those things up, that can take some sleep from you at night.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So, going along with that,
Yeah.
like losses are obviously a part of the game. How do you deal with those as a coach differently than how you deal with them as a player? Dealt with them as a player.
Yeah. I think I now digest the losses way more. As a player, it was a little bit bigger for me to just kind of shrug it off and move forward because there is so much of this roller coaster where you just kind of need to fly even. Now as a coach, I would usually say, and it's an acronym, but learning opportunities, stay strong. Like, go down the list. Why did we lose? Like, put it into bite-sized pieces and actually have a decent understanding of like, hey, this is where we messed up. How can we put this into practice so next time it shows up in the game, we're better prepared. So a little bit more of dissecting the loss than as a player, I'd just be like, ah, man, we didn't show up today. It is what it is. Move on to the next opponent. So probably just take my time going through what led to the loss now as a coach.
Kind of going off that a little bit, do you feel a little bit more pressure as a coach than you did playing, or is it the other way around?
No, I would say it's the other way around. There's nothing like being in the box. It's amazing. It's a thrill, but it's certainly a little bit heart-wrenching. It could certainly get your juices flowing. But as a coach, no, I mean, especially I work with the outfielders and the base runners and then also the hitters. But the one that comes to mind is the outfielders. Like, once they're out there, I know you guys have done the work. You guys have showed up with good attitudes. You've worked hard. So I just think you guys are good enough and prepared enough for me not to be worried. Like, I think the plays are going to make themselves. If we're prepared, I feel good about our chances. And the same thing does go for base running and hitting, but I would say especially with the outfield, I'm like, as long as we're in a decent spot, we'll make the plays that we're meant to.
That's good.
So, how has playing in the pressure moments, like you've went to Omaha, you played at the biggest stage of all of college baseball. How did that help you from coaching during pressure moments, whether it's tie game, runner on third, whatever, but you got a guy in the box that you trust and you not wanting to stress him out or just helping him get through it, the pressure moments as well?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is when I've been in those situations, it's easy to try and give a guy all the information, right? I'm in the box, I'm hitting. The runner's on third base with 2 outs. We got a tie ball game. We really need that run, but it's easy to try and flood the guy with all the information because you think that helps him. But at the end of the day, you want that guy's talent to come out, and by just kind of like giving him almost nothing, like just pump him up with confidence, pump him up with like slowing his heart rate down. That's usually the best tool you could give a guy, is not a bunch of numbers, but actually just a little bit of confidence, because you certainly know from being in the situation that you feel kind of on an island, you know? Like, it's on me. Like, I better get this right. The other two parts of that would be like, we play this game so much. We scrimmage a ton in the fall, some pre-spring. At the end of the day, every game is just a scrimmage, you know? Like, when you scrimmage, are you nervous?
No.
Right? Like, it's just a scrimmage. You? And
No.
both these guys were tremendous guys in the fall and the spring, so it's like it's no surprise that like in scrimmages it's easy for guys, especially when they've had success, to not feel any pressure. Like, maybe for a freshman, but I always brought it back to, if during scrimmages I was locked in and I tried my best and I went through the motions but played the game the right way, once the game comes, it's no different. That always brought me peace. You had mentioned playing in Omaha. Like, when I went in, I was like, man, I was never scared in a scrimmage to go dive for a ball or try and rob a home run or whatever the case may be, try and hit a ball in the gap. Like, there was no fear there. There was no fear of failure. It was just a scrimmage. It kind of doesn't change. You're just in a different location, maybe a little bit more fans, but it's the same game.
That's good. I had a question just pop into my head. When it comes to like the younger guys and the guys that are wanting to play Division I baseball, as you've played for a couple years now, what are some things that separate the guys that make it and the guys that don't?
Are we talking about high school guys that are
Like
trying
the
to be
high school
college?
guys?
So that's an interesting question. So I would say for the high school guys, what separates those kids is the focus. Like, you have to be focused. There are so many distractions in high school. A lot of people want to pull you different directions. Say, we want you to play basketball. We want you to go to prom. And not that you can't be a kid, but it takes a lot of focus, a lot of dedication, a lot of weekends on the summer, fall, spring especially. A lot of dedication in order to become a college baseball player. It certainly does take some talent. We can't turn a blind eye to that. But I would say, and I hope you guys would attest to this too, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication just to like kind of punch through to the next level. And then once you get to the next level, it's just like a whole separate challenge. You had mentioned junior college. I think it's similar. Like, you're in a small city usually at a junior college. You got to stay focused. Like, you're there for a year, sometimes 2 years. You're on the clock. Like, you got 9 months usually because you go home during summer to be the best version of yourself. So that's what I would say is kind of putting pressure on yourself to not waste your time, because that Division I school is going to be looking for you in 3 months once you show up on campus. So you kind of can't waste time at the junior college level. Once you get into the Division I level, I would say what separates a lot of guys, and I talked to you guys about this, but would be like the mental capacity of the player. Like, can he handle failure? Can he have an idea of what gives him success and then recreate it? That's what I think separates the college guys like you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about this one. What is the best piece of advice you have received about the game of baseball?
I just talked to one of our players about this recently, but I feel like this kind of peeled back a lot of pressure, stress. Whether I go 0 for 10 and I never play again this year, or I go 5 for 10 and I win Conference Player of the Week, like, my family's not going to change how they see me. Like, my faith's not going to change. My relationship with God, my relationship with maybe a loved one, a girlfriend, a wife, whoever, that's not going to change. I'm still a smart person. I'm still a nice person. I'm still funny. Like, the personality, it doesn't get attached to results in the game. I read a book. It's called Heads Up Baseball. It's super good. It's by Ken Revisa, and he talks about how a guy kind of just relaxed himself by saying, if it doesn't work out, I'm still gonna go back and live a good life on the farm. And like, it sounds funny, but it's true. Like, if you stink, or if I stink, it's okay. Like, it's not life or death. There are bigger challenges being fought out in the world. So I feel like that gives me perspective.
That's good. I guess to wrap this interview up, just kind of something for the viewers. What's one of your favorite plays that you've made in your college career?
Yeah. I would give two. The one that gets talked about more would be, I didn't play much my 6th year. I transferred to Kentucky, and I was on a really good team. And I took on a role that wasn't very attractive. I was coming in late in games to base run and to play defense. And I just come from a position where I was the leader and I was the leadoff, and I played 55 games the whole season, where I stepped into not as sexy of a role, but I didn't let it get to me. Like, throughout the year, I just always kept my head down and said, if this is my role, I'll be the best at it. Ended up never getting thrown out on the base paths, went, I think, 8 for 8, and every time I came in, they knew I was stealing. And then ultimately we ended up playing in Omaha, and I got a chance to come in, and a ball was hit to me, and I went and attacked it, and I made a good play, and that.
0-1 to Hefner, swung on in line, back up the middle. The wind picks it up. Diving is Crittenberger, and he caught it in left center. You could see the wind lift that sinking line drive, and it held it up there for Crittenberger to make a tremendous catch, diving to his bare hand right into.
Helped Kentucky win their first game in Omaha, and that was a special experience. But another one that is a little different, but we were going through the year, my third year at Western Kentucky, and there was a kid from my hometown, and I didn't play a ton of kids because I was playing in Kentucky and I'm from Florida. Like, I didn't play that many kids that were from my area. But when we played FAU, there was a kid I played against in high school, and he was chippy. He thought he was real deal. And we played at home, and he struck me out on a pitch that I thought was this far below the zone, a changeup, and he let out a big grunt. And to me, like, that kind of like heightened my awareness. I was like, oh, this guy's trying to kick my ass. Like, he's trying to show me up a little bit. He's trying to come for me. Like, I didn't really take him seriously as a threat, but like, he kind of flexed his muscles on me a little bit. So fast forward to the conference tournament. He started the game to kick off the tournament. We played FAU, and it was just like a little bit more in the tank that day. I was like, this kid's not getting me. Like, I've seen him. I've faced him twice now. I'm going to make sure I'm the one celebrating. And ended up hitting 2 doubles off him, and he got. But that was just a special moment for me because, like, I had hung around the kid a little bit in the off season, and I knew him, but a little bit of a personal matchup where you don't get that too much once you kind of climb the ranks. It kind of turns into me versus a nobody, just a face, just an arm, just the ball. Where I knew who that was, and he definitely remembered that day. So did I, but that was one of my favorite memories.
That's good. Awesome. Well, thank you for sitting down for this interview with us.
For sure.
We hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you.
I'm going to cut this out. I forgot your password.
2282.
228. I thought it was 8282 or 28.
He locked us out. And we're back.
You want to go and you can go.
I'll
on
go.
this.
I'll go.